Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. Today we are going to be tuning into the energy of Pluto as it enters into Aquarius and seeing how it transforms your life. Pluto is a planet of major transformation. It is an outer planet that doesn't move signs very often, and at the end of January it is moving into Aquarius. It's going to stay there for about 9 months and then retrograde back into Capricorn one last final time for 2 months and then be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So we're already really shifting into this major Aquarius energy that's going to be around us for the next 2 decades. And we want to see how that's going to affect you, how that's going to change your life, what kind of transformations are going to happen for you. So that's what this reading is all about. And today you have a selection of cards for you to choose from that can tell you what kind of transformation is going to be happening. So just see which of these cards is calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it, and then as soon as you've made up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. I also want to mention that if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, you should head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about how you are going to be surprised in 2024, and before that all about your gifts and talents that you were born having, and before that an 18 plus what are their late night thoughts of you spicy reading. So there's lots of content to choose from, over 75 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. They always get posted over on Patreon first. So if that sounds good to you and you want to sign up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And if you would like to get a private reading with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can have me channel for you, read your astrology, pull tarot for you, of course, or a combination of all three. If you have a specific question, we can go into that. Or if you just want me to open channel and see what is going to come through for you, what your guides want to say to you, then we can do that as well. So if you would like that session with me, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link is in my description. So thanks for watching, guys. Now, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey Pile 1, welcome to your reading. So your card is Stars in the Sky, Limitless Possibility. And for your other cards, you got Me Talks, Repairing the Body, Mind, Spirit, Netcaster, Preparations Come to Fruition, Mindful, Groupthink, and Woodwives, Adaptability. So I am wondering if I have a lot of Aquarius placements who picked this pile, or other fixed signs. So Taurus, Leo, Capricorn, because it feels like this Pluto transit is going to hit you guys really, really hard. And I feel like there's an energy of you taking no prisoners. I feel like the person that you're going to be by the end of this Pluto transit, which is literally going to last for 20 years, so it is a super long, super transformative transit, you're going to be a totally different person. Of course, that's the case for everyone, but this feels like it's really going to transform you on a very deep level. And what I'm seeing most of all is you have a lot firmer boundaries than you did in the past. You're almost becoming a lot more selfish in a good way. I feel like in the past, maybe some of you guys would be people pleasers. Maybe some of you guys would be worried more about what others would think. Right now, we can see preparations come to fruition, stars in the sky, limitless possibility. There's a heavy energy about some of you guys really achieving a dream, getting something done that you've always wanted. And I almost feel like in the past, you didn't give yourself permission to fully allow yourself to try for this. So maybe there's something with like you wanted to do something in the public eye, but then you would, be like, oh, I don't want to seem attention hungry, so I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to launch my YouTube account, or I'm not going to, try to do something on TikTok or whatever. Or maybe you wanted to try to make money, but you had a lot of hangups about money and thinking that, who am I to ask for money? I don't want to be greedy. And I feel like that energy is getting out the window. Like you are becoming someone who will genuinely ask for what you want and not be like wishy-washy about it, not be afraid to ask, not be afraid to go for it. I feel like you are becoming someone who is much more direct and much more in that Plutonian, like I said what I said kind of energy, you know, and that is very Pluto. So that's why I'm thinking this Pluto may really, really be hammering a personal planet if you have an inner planet in like the fixed signs. So if you have Sun, Moon, Ascendant, especially within Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Capricorn, or even your Mars, Venus, or Mercury, this could be really hitting you hard and really, especially blowing up whatever that planet is. So I feel like a lot of you guys, by the end of this transit, especially in that area of your life, you are no longer going to apologize. You are no longer going to feel guilty or feel like I shouldn't say this, or feel like, well, let me just try to keep the peace and get along with everyone and let me pretend that I'm okay with it. You are turning into the kind of person who is going to go boldly after what you want. And so I do feel like there are many like manifestations, goals, dreams that are now going to be a possibility for you when they weren't before. Because in the past, it's almost like you weren't ready for it. You were too self-apologetic. You were too self-editing. You were too much of a people pleaser. Maybe you would worry a lot about what other people think of you. And I feel like you've really done a lot of work purging that. I'm feeling like, especially when Pluto enters into Aquarius, this may be a bit destabilizing for some of you guys. You may feel a little bit like, oh my gosh, everything is coming up. I'm facing all this conflict. Whenever you have like a Pluto or a Mars transit really hitting your chart hard, you're gonna run into conflict because those are planets that involve levels of conflict. So you're going to have disagreements. You're going to have people randomly being rude to you or coming against you or just being nasty. And that's just the reality of it. But actually, it's a good thing because it trains you to be able to deal with that. And it's training you to be able to handle and stand up for yourself in a positive and in a stable kind of way. So it's not for you to like start flying off the handle and going off and screaming at everyone, but it is teaching you to stand your ground, to go after what you want, and to be unapologetic about it in the way Mars is unapologetic about the things it wants. You can think of like Mars, Pluto as kind of like war transits, and just like a general who's going to war isn't gonna like apologize like, I'm so sorry I had to shoot you, or I'm so sorry I had to take this territory and take over your castle. It's just gonna do it. It's just gonna go for it. And in the same way, I think you guys are learning to really get after the things you want and be unapologetic and bold about it. So for some of you guys in this transit, this could even be a fame transit with this mindful groupthink card. There could be a public stage or an arena, you getting more attention in that way. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be doing heavy shadow work, like I said, especially at the beginning of this. And if you've already been working on your shadow work, this transit is just going to reveal even more of that. It's going to reveal how far you've come, the work you've done in a really, really positive way. I also feel like you guys are discovering different sides of yourselves, more sides of yourself. You're discovering kind of like who you are or who you used to be. This is possibly also going to be doing past life stuff. So if you have wanted to do like a past life regression, or if you have wanted to kind of like cleanse up karma from past lifetimes, I'm hearing this would be an excellent time for that. Maybe some of you guys have Scorpio South nodes or Pluto aspecting your South node, but this may really hit some past life energies for you, 8th house South node as well. I feel like for you guys, this is going to really activate some past traumas in your life, especially from past lifetimes. So you're going to have the opportunity to heal that, but it may be a bit of a bumpy road, especially at first. Let's get into some more cards. Let's get some tarot for pile number 1. 6th house, or excuse me, 6 of Pentacles. I don't know why I said 6th house. That's interesting. We got the Knight of Wands, Page of Swords. 6 of Pentacles has to do with your money situation. So your money situation may be changing, and it's interesting that Pluto has to do with other people's money. The 8th house is other people's money. So the 6 of Pentacles is kind of a card about that. And if you have been financially dependent on someone, this may be stepping out of it and seizing your own power. Pluto really loves to be in power. Pluto loves to be the one in control. And I feel like in the past, it's almost like some of you guys kept yourselves small or kept yourselves less powerful because you didn't want to threaten anyone else. You felt more comfortable when everyone was not threatened by you. You know, you felt more comfortable when people were just not even seeing you as a threat, seeing you as like a friend, or like, oh, she's so nice. And I feel like now you're like, I want to be powerful. I want to be the one with the power. And I don't care about how anyone receives it. And as your mindset shifts into that, I feel like you are going to be capable of manifesting money on a much deeper level than you ever had before, because the eighth house to second house axis, that is Scorpio and Pluto energy, is a financial aspect. So it's the major financial line in the zodiac. So Pluto can be highlighting our money situation, our financial situation, and I feel like for you guys, this is about a mental block. If you have had your finances blocked, it may be that you didn't feel comfortable being the one who had the power. Maybe you felt more comfortable when someone else was the one who had the purse strings, or someone else had control over your life in some way, and deep down you might sabotage things to keep yourself not having the money you want, because you didn't want to seem like a threat, or you didn't want to step into your own power, or you felt like people would be jealous or people would be threatened. So let me keep myself small. I feel like this is your transit of making yourself much bigger, much more of a threat to others. You don't care now if someone is threatened by you. You don't care if they're upset that you're living your best life. So a lot of this is about your idea of self-worth, what you are worth, what you deserve, what you can have, what's an option for you. I feel like those doors are opening in a way that they never have before. We got the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups is a very happy, beautiful card. It's also wishes fulfilled card. So for the Nine of Cups, it's a really positive sign that financially things may be a lot better off for you, and your life may feel a lot happier in general. I also feel like this could be other manifestations that don't just have to do with money, because I do feel like sometimes people will sabotage themselves in all arenas of life to appease others. So like that girl who's really pretty and may get a lot of attention from men, maybe she knows that her less attractive friends get jealous when guys come right up to her at the bar and start flirting with her and talking to her and buying her drinks. So she might subconsciously sabotage that by dressing down, or by, you know, avoiding eye contact with these men, or if they come up and talk to her, brushing them off. You know what I mean? So that her friends aren't going to be threatened, and her friends aren't going to feel like this is so unfair and I'm so sick of Sarah. Every time we go out with her, she gets all this attention from men. I don't like going with her. So she knows in order to avoid that jealousy, she's just going to sabotage her relationships. But the sad thing about that is, of course, you know, those friends might go on to have their own relationships and find other things, and then Sarah's still going to be the one who's alone because she learned this pattern of self-sabotage in order to appease others. And I feel like that's something a lot of you guys are moving out of in many areas of your life. You're no longer trying to appease others by making yourself small, or by catering to them, or by not pursuing your own desires. You are going to be a force to be reckoned with by the time Saturn finally stops its transits in 20 years. By the way, Saturn is dipping into Capricorn. It's going to retrograde back really quickly in the fall for about 2 months, but then it is in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So we're just going to do this transit early, even though there's a tiny little period where it's retrograding back, but pretty much it's in Aquarius now for the foreseeable, the next 20 years. But I feel like this transit is really teaching you that you are an individual, and that you deserve to have the things you want in life, and that others may have a problem with it, they may not like it, but that's not something you should listen to. So this can also be about pursuing your passions. We got the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is also a very selfish energy, and it's also got a lot of charisma. The Knight of Wands can actually be a bit of a player romantically. It can be someone who dates a lot, has a lot of romantic relationships, and a lot of people are very drawn to the Knight of Wands. So speaking of romantic situation, you may be dating around a lot. You may be just looking extra sexy, extra good. People may be noticing you at this time. but I feel like, I'm seeing someone in a boardroom standing in front of like a big table and telling people what to do. I feel like this is almost like a boss moment for you, stepping into like a boss role somehow, maybe even opening a company for some of you guys. But I feel like what's in the past, you used to like really twist yourself into a pretzel, trying to appease others, trying not to step on toes. And I feel like you've learned a lot about human nature, and you kind of have that uncompromising energy of Pluto really prominent in your chart. That's why I'm thinking this Pluto transit may be hitting a really personal planet for you, because it feels like there is just a very strong energy of taking no prisoners, getting after what you want, going for what you want. And this area of your life, whatever it hits, is going to be completely transformed. That's what Pluto does. So yeah, I think you are going to leave this Pluto transit a completely different person. We got the Devil card. The Devil card talks about traumas, bad habits, the Nine of Pentacles and the Fool. Oh my gosh. I feel like this is like a new you. Like, it's funny because I feel, everyone kind of maybe wants certain goals, certain things, but they don't necessarily realize that they're going to have to go through that plutonic moment of transformation in order to actually achieve it. And this is one of those astrology transits that I really feel like is going to leave you a completely different person. Like, who you are on the other side of this, it's almost like unrecognizable. And I'm hearing that this transformation is going to happen within the first few years of of Pluto entering into Aquarius. So you are really going to turn into a totally new you. And I think that the person that you are, it's almost like, I gotta say, you're a little less bubbly and bright and sweet and trying to get everyone to like you than you were in the past. And I got a message from Spirit about like, listen, even you may be, depending on how psychic you are and how many psychic placements you have, you may be feeling this energy well before it actually happens, especially a huge transit like Pluto. We've already had, Pluto did dip into Aquarius this year and then it retrograded. It's kind of going back and forth a little bit. You guys may already be feeling this energy of Pluto in Aquarius and the transformation it's going to evoke in you. So you may have already felt yourself become a little more jaded or become a little more tough or become a little less people pleasing than before. And maybe some of you guys are kind of struggling with that, or you're kind of looking at yourself thinking, oh my God, did I turn into a horrible person? I used to be so nice. I used to be so like giving and loving to everyone, and now I'm a lot more selfish. That is a good thing, because I feel like before in the past, you were doing it from an inauthentic place. You were doing it out of a place of like, please love me, please see me for who I am, please accept me. I swear I'm a nice person. And that is not genuine, authentic love, you know what I mean? And people can sense that. They can sense that, oh, you need something from me? You need my approval so bad? I'm gonna withhold it then. And I feel like now you're like, I'm gonna do it myself. I don't need anyone. And not to say you have to be an island, but I feel like now when you choose relationships, when you choose people you wanna be in your life, they're gonna be people you really picked for yourself. They're gonna be people that you genuinely are aligned with, you genuinely do like. You're not doing it out of a sense of like, please like me, please love me. And people are going to sense this shift in your energy, and they're going to treat you with a lot more respect than they did before. So if in the past you felt disrespected, or you felt like people didn't really fully see you or didn't fully get you or kind of took you for granted, just know that this energy is shifting, it is changing, and you are turning into a better version of yourself. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person, but Plutonians are, generally speaking, Scorpios, Pluto placements are not the type to overgive in some vain hope that someone will like them. They don't care if you like them. They don't mind being polarizing, and that is their power. And actually, Plutonians, Scorpios tend to be extremely popular and have a lot of dating options, especially because of that, because people crave that authenticity. So just a little message for some of you guys, don't be afraid of this transformation that's happening, because the person that you're going to be at the end of this is actually like this powerhouse, and financially it does look like it could be a really, really good transit for you. So for some of you guys, this may be lighting up financial houses as well. This could be a Pluto in the second house situation, a Pluto in the eighth house situation, or Pluto aspecting planets you have in those houses, and Pluto aspecting Jupiter and Venus as well. But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is going to be you having more money. This is going to be you being more in control and more powerful with your financial situation. There is a warning that for some of you guys to be careful with your money, especially at the beginning, because especially Pluto in Aquarius in general may be kind of really affecting the financial situation globally. And I feel like for you guys, it may really, whenever such a major planet is shifting into a new energy, sometimes it just destabilizes everything and it causes a lot of unexpected changes. So maybe at the beginning, like, don't run out and buy, this completely new, super big expense, because just know that like things are, maybe let the dust settle at first, especially because I do feel like this is highlighting finances for you guys. Let's get a couple more cards for pile number 1. So we got Spirit of Place. I do feel like some of you guys may be moving. You may discover a new place you want to move to or live in. We got Moonlight and Sacred Pool and Magical Map Shifter. So yeah, you definitely may be moving, or deciding that you want to live somewhere else, or deciding that you want to settle down or travel a lot more. But I feel like something is happening possibly with your 4th house, which is kind of where you call home, or your 3rd or 9th house. Those are travel houses. But I really feel like for a lot of you guys, you're thinking about where you want to live. This is possibly like a totally new identity. It could even be moving somewhere, and it's the kind of place that really shapes your identity. Like moving to a coastal town on the coast of California, and everyone is kind of like a surfer, and everyone's kind of a, like up in Big Sur, they're kind of like hippie vibes, and you were never really open to that, but you find yourself wearing like these knits and leggings and Uggs everywhere and chilling out a little and getting a tattoo. Or the opposite, you move to like an East Coast really preppy town and you find yourself really gravitating towards that style. Nothing wrong with that. Just make sure it's coming from an authentic place, and make sure, I feel like your intuition is going to be more on point than ever as Pluto transits into Aquarius. Pluto is a majorly powerful psychic and prophetic planet, along with the moon and Neptune. Those are the most psychic of all the planets. So when Pluto really highlights something in our house, it can truly make us much more psychic, and it can make us much more attuned, especially if Pluto is transiting through the psychic houses. So that would be the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house can all make us much more psychic. And if Pluto is going to be highlighting or aspecting your natal moon or your natal Neptune, or going over your native Pluto, which would aspecting your native Pluto. Pluto takes about 240 years to transit, so I don't think it's going to be conjunct anyone's moon that is watching this video, unless it's some kind of ghost. But maybe it could be trine or something like that. If it is aspecting your native your natal Pluto, then that could definitely compound that energy, as well as your Neptune, as well as your moon. But either way, I feel like you guys are going to be very, very, very psychic at this time. You guys are going to be getting downloads. You guys are going to be getting messages. Whenever we have movement from Pluto, that can really make things start flowing, spiritually speaking. And Pluto deals with kind of the lower vibrational aspects of spirituality. So whereas Neptune can be a very gentle and very fantastical and dreamy energy, and the moon can be kind of like quieter and sleepy, although the moon does some crazy stuff as well, so does Neptune. But Pluto really deals with traumas. It deals with the truth. It deals with, really unpacking negative things that happen to us, and really dealing with truths that we try to cover up, truths that we try to lie to ourselves with. It's really that ripping the band-aid off type of energy. So for a lot of you guys, this may come as like a need to do something. It may not come as like a gentle urge. It may feel very strong. It may feel like I need to move to this town. Need to move to this city. I need to open this business. Pay attention to those urges that you get. Again, I feel like location, moving, what kind of house you have is all going to be highlighted for you guys as Pluto makes this transit. I want to get some astrology dice. Let's see the astrological energies that are going to be most affected by this transit and the astrological energies at play. So we got Gemini, the Sun, aka Leo, and the 7th house, aka Libra. So some of you guys may be Geminis, Leos, or Libras, or have 3rd house, 5th house, or 7th house placements. But when it comes to Gemini, Gemini is all about communication. Gemini is also this relentlessly curious energy, loves to learn. Some of you guys are going to be finding out information. Pluto deals with like plumbing, waste disposal. So Pluto can really conjure up things that we thought we'd kind of gotten rid of. You know, it's kind of like someone discovering something in a city dump that they thought they'd thrown away. Like, you know how sometimes they'll solve a crime because they find, I don't know, a body or something in the city dump. Someone thought they got rid of it. They thought they disposed it, but then Pluto kind of brings it back, or they thought they threw something in the river and then they find it. So this may be information coming up for you guys. This may be painful information specifically relating, I'm hearing for some of you guys, to family or to like buried old secrets, to people's intentions towards you. You may be finding out the people you thought liked you didn't like you as much, or something like that. And again, I feel like this is your lesson, especially around people pleasing, where a lot of you guys are learning not to be such people pleasers, not to put so much stock in whether people like you or not, because does it really benefit you that much? Even if they love you, I mean, they love you one moment, they hate you the next. Who really cares? This is about standing in your truth. We have this Sun Leo energy. The sun is about shining as brightly as you possibly can, and that being your service to the world, that we are actually doing a service to the collective by entering into our highest possible vibration and showing ourselves as brightly and strongly as we possibly can. So in that way, hiding ourselves away, sabotaging ourselves, keeping ourselves small in order to appease others is literally directly going against our core mission to serve the collective. So once we know that, we can really step out into the energy of our best, highest self. Whatever we do, whatever we need to serve the collective is going to be very strong Leo sun energy. So I feel like for you guys, you are no longer hiding your light or dimming yourself or trying to make yourself small to make others comfortable. This is about you stepping out. Again, for some of you guys, this could be a fame transit. This could be about stepping into the public eye in some way, being willing to put yourself out there on a new platform or a new level, and really powerfully stepping into that. Then we have the 7th house, aka Libra. Libra is a very diplomatic energy. It is about compromising, getting along with others, and being very fair and judicious. I actually feel like for some of you guys, this is about maybe stepping away from doing that in general, but maybe learning to do that more within personal relationships. The 7th house is the house of really close love relationships. So for some of you guys, this could actually be about finding a partner, finding a relationship, and being more capable of that, because again, you're no longer trying to get everyone else's approval, so you can focus more on a partner. Pluto, the 8th house, is also about partnerships and relationships, values that really strongly. So this could be about, for some of you guys, learning to put away the focus on the energy of others or the attention or the approval of others, and focusing more on your individual relationships one-on-one. I also feel like for some of you guys, this is about like I was saying, self-sabotage that might have kept you out of relationships, where maybe you would worry more about what your friends would think or what others would say instead of focusing on your one person and their opinions of things. This beautiful authenticity you're stepping into with this Pluto transit is going to allow you to deepen your relationships, have more authentic, beautiful relationships, and get the kind of life you truly want, not the kind of life others may approve of or others may think would be good for you. So that is what I have for you. Pile number one, I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts and stories. And make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about how you're going to be surprised in 2024 and about your innate gifts and talents that you were born with. And before that, I posted an 18 plus what are their late night thoughts of you reading. So there's so much content to choose from over on Patreon, over 75 exclusive readings you'll only find over there. And you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos, so they get posted over there first. If all that sounds good to you, go to my Patreon. Link is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. Also, if you'd like to get a private session with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a tarot reading with me, channeling session, astrology reading, or a combination of all three. You can ask me basically whatever you want, or just have an open channel session and get you the messages you need to hear. If that sounds good to you, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this, the Crossing Initiation card, this is going to be your reading. So you guys also got Skywriting, the Fates, Caterpillar, Opportunity, the Crossing Initiation, Jeweled Web, Connectivity, and Horseman, Herald of Change. So I feel like a major theme for you in this Pluto entering Aquarius era is your relationships. I feel like relationships are going to become a lot more important to you as we see this transit go into full gear. So you guys may be getting closer to family, to friends, or to close romantic relationships, especially if you have isolated in the past or you haven't given as much energy to those relationships. I feel like you're going to really feel the urge to surround yourself with like-minded people. This transit may be about you getting more social, being around others, kind of engaging in that communal energy. Pluto is an outer planet, so it has to do with communal energies that affect the whole collective. It's not an individual transit that's only going to affect you. It's going to be a transit that is really felt on a very widespread level, and it usually, I almost said always, but not quite always, but it usually unites us with a lot of other people in their same beliefs or same things that they're going through. So I feel like for you guys, this is about realizing that community, realizing how connected we all are, and kind of like opening up out of your shell. So you may find that relationships start meaning a lot more to you, or you find a like-minded group of people. You may find a friend group. You may find a romantic relationship. You may find yourself getting closer to your birth family or starting a family of your own during this transit. Pluto and the 8th house is an energy that connects directly with others. We all know that Pluto is a planet that rules over sex, which is obviously a form of connection and intimacy. And then, of course, it also rules over the 8th house of other people's money. So it's shared finances. It's a relationship where you're so close that you actually co-mingle your finances. So it's really about a deep form of intimacy when it comes to Pluto. And you may be allowing yourself to go to those greater depths when it comes to Pluto transiting into Aquarius. This may be hitting up a relationship house for some of you guys. So like a 7th house, maybe a 5th house, maybe allowing those doors of your heart to open up to love, or if you're already in a relationship, deepening that intimacy and realizing how much deeper you can go. People sometimes are like, I wonder why Scorpio rules sex. And the reason is because Scorpio loves to get to the bottom of things. Pluto loves to get to the deepest depths of a relationship. And the deepest kind of intimacy you could experience historically was by having sex with someone, because it was something you'd probably only do with one person over the course of your life. It meant you were willing to reproduce with them, etc., etc. So it really meant a deep level of trust. Of course, sometimes now in the modern era, sex has with different connotations, but I still feel like that is why Pluto in Scorpio relates to sex. It really is an energy that wants to connect so deeply, doesn't want to settle for half-hearted intimacy or kind of knowing someone or just having a pleasant relationship that doesn't really require a lot of emotions. Pluto is really about going there, getting deep. So for some of you guys, this could be about finding a soulmate, finding someone you can really deeply open up to, or finding a friend group where you can be so intimate. You can tell them everything on your heart, everything that's going on with you, and realizing how connected you are. This could also be unpacking family stuff. So if you have family secrets, those may come to the surface. If you have a family dysfunctional vibe or energy, family dysfunctions, you may be unpacking those and learning how to have more of a positive attitude within your family and have more positive relationships to each other. But either way, I feel like you guys are kind of challenging yourself and realizing how much more capable you are of going deep. Sometimes I think when we're afraid to go deep in relationships, it's that fear of rejection, right? It's that fear that if someone really sees the real us, they're not going to like it. They're going to be disgusted. So let me present this kind of mask that I show to the public, and let me kind of lead with that. And as soon as someone starts getting close, let me distance myself a little bit, you know? And so sometimes there's something really healing that can happen with that Pluto Scorpio energy once we learn to take our guard down, once we learn that this person can see me at my absolute most naked, literally, physically, and like metaphorically speaking, emotionally, energetically naked, and they're gonna still like what they see. They're gonna still like me without this pretense or without clothes on, metaphorical clothing. They're gonna still love the real me. So I feel like you're kind of learning to do that, learning to be more authentic. And of course, it's okay to still have a mask up with the world. It's okay to still have like your ascendant self that you project to others, that maybe you're not gonna, you know, tell someone about like how when you were 12, your middle school boyfriend broke up with you and you have trauma from that, to like the random lady at the bus stop, you know. But maybe it's okay that once you really start getting to know someone, you're okay with that intimacy, you're okay with getting deep within those special relationships. I feel like you're gonna really feel challenged to do that, and you may find relationships is an area where you go through a lot of transformation. So I'm not gonna lie, if you're in a relationship now, there could be a breakup. Pluto often challenges the areas where it touches. It really brings out the truth and kind of purges out what's going on. So if there's something being hidden, if there's something where someone is lying or not really being forthright, then that will bring that to the surface. So if you're in a relationship with someone and that relationship was built on a shallow foundation, then you might experience a tower moment, and you may find that secrets come to the surface, deep intentions come to the surface. Or if you're single, Spirit may really start unpacking relationship traumas you have, or maybe you're like, no, I'm happy being single. And Spirit is like, oh, really? Or is it because you were mentally scarred by your boyfriend in college and you suddenly start unpacking that? But keep in mind, this is a beautiful healing process. Whatever is left remaining after Pluto is done is going to be so solid and so much stronger than it was when you first came in. It is kind of like strengthening in the same way that you would take iron and put it in a fire in order to make it stronger. Or take a sword, or if you were like a blacksmith, put some kind of metal tool in a fire in order to make it much stronger. So you're refining yourself, you're refining these relationships. So whatever is left after this Pluto transit, which is going to last 20 years, so you'll have plenty of time to adjust to this energy. Usually it's the most destabilizing within the first few months or years. That's when you're going to really feel those effects, but then those energies will continue for the full duration of 20 years, but you'll learn how to master them as time goes on. So for some of you guys, especially because Saturn is actually going to retrograde back into Capricorn one final time in the fall, and then by 2025 it is fully in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So it is going to stay there until 2044. So we are in for a long haul with this. We're getting a glimpse and a big taste of it because it's there for the next foreseeable future, but then again, a quick retrograde back in fall. So this is going to feel like the energy is kind of a little crazy at this time, especially as we start getting those initial glimpses of how Pluto in Aquarius is going to look for us. And I feel like for you guys, it's definitely highlighting your relationships. And there's a challenging energy here, almost like a dare happening for you, asking you, can you be brave enough? Will you be willing to step into this? Will you allow yourself to be transformed by the flames of Pluto? Will you allow Pluto to burn everything down that you know and leave the embers and see what's left at the end? And I do feel like for you guys, this is a powerful healing moment to get a lot deeper in your relationships, to show a lot more intimacy, to show a lot more vulnerability. One thing about Scorpios is Scorpios and Plutonians, they love honesty. They love when you tell them the truth. They love when you tell them your secrets or your traumas. They have no fear of that. They're not going to be disgusted or be like, excuse me, trauma dumping, please stop. They're going to be like, thank you, tell me more. They love it because they understand that that is the deepest form of intimacy. And Pluto in Scorpio understands intimacy like no other sign. And they appreciate intimacy and are capable of greater depths of intimacy more than anyone else in the whole entire zodiac. So they are never going to be afraid of you showing your deepest self to them. They're going to love that. And I think you're going to have a healing moment, maybe as you're willing to be more honest, more vulnerable with others, and realize that people aren't scared from that. They're not turned off by it. They're not disgusted by it, but they actually love getting to see that side of you. So let me get into some tarot for pile number 2. We want to know about pile 2's, what's going to be happening for them as Pluto moves into Aquarius, spirit. As Pluto moves into Aquarius. Okay, so we have the World card coming out. And the World is an amazing card about transformation. I was going to say completion. And really coming to a final moment, finally completing something that may have been a long time coming. So this may be you being willing to leave something in the past, something that may be almost like you've been dragging the energy around with you is what I'm seeing. These may have been relationships that you've been trying to make work, like family members that are dysfunctional, but you try to give it a pass. Relationships with friends where you don't really feel like they're fully on your side, but you make a lot of excuses for them. You tell yourself that it's fine, you know, they didn't mean it like that. And I feel like as Pluto enters into Aquarius, you're going to be much more blunt. You're going to be much more distant about that. That's one energy about Aquarius in particular. Aquarius is very distant emotionally. It's not as emotional as, say, a water sign or a fire sign. It's going to have that kind of dispassionate bird's eye view. So you may find that when it comes to relationships, when the relationships no longer serve you, you are able to remove yourself from them. You are able to say goodbye, release them, acknowledge them for what they are, and not necessarily take that energy around and mourn it and cry about it, but just have that feeling of kind of dispassionate, emotional distance from it, the way Aquarians do. Let's get into some more tarot. So we got the Magician. Okay, so we have the World, the Magician, the King of Pentacles. Let's see, we got the Nine of Wands, the Three of Cups, and the Knight of Cups. So it's really interesting. I feel like some of you guys may be financially learning your way about this. I also feel like you are going to learn is what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is self-reliance. So there's some kind of energy of you standing on your own 2 feet. I don't know what this is. The Pluto and Scorpio rule the 8th house of other people's money. So sometimes it can be being dependent on someone else or being financially intertwined with someone. This may be about you learning to manage your own money, learning to handle your own money. And definitely Pluto in Aquarius is going to be affecting the financial system globally and collectively. So this may be, I'm hearing investment, I'm hearing stocks. This may be about some of you guys really learning to master stocks, investments, even cryptocurrency, and really learning to step into your power with that that, I'm feeling by the end of this transit, there's going to be a lot more self-confidence and self-trust. Like I feel like by the end of this, you're going to be able to trust yourself on this. You're not going to be wishy-washy. You're not going to be doubting yourself. You're not going to be feeling like you need someone else to help you. It's like you have really learned to master this. I also feel like this is about you learning to really pursue certain interests, possibly creative hobbies, really learning to trust yourself with that. I'm almost feeling like for some of you guys, there's a lack of self-confidence with something when it comes to like a creative hobby, a feeling of like, I can't do this. And I actually feel like Spirit is going to push you to be more creative and also more individualistic. Aquarius is a planet of is an energy of individuality. Uranus loves uniqueness, individuality, someone doing their own thing, marching to the beat of their own drum. Aquarius is definitely not interested in fitting into a collective energy or just a general everyone having to be the same conformity vibe. And I feel like for you guys, how this transit could manifest is it could make you really push yourself to be more creative. It's kind of like a trend we're already starting to see with this shift from Pluto in Capricorn into Pluto in Aquarius, you know, where there was an energy of everyone having these beige walls that are now kind of like a meme, and people joke about how people would have just a pure beige apartment or a pure white apartment and there'd be nothing in it. And now you're seeing this move and shift towards individuality, everyone wanting like beautiful, unique, colorful items decorating their stuff, right? And so this shift has kind of already been happening in the collective now that I think about it. But I feel like for you guys, this is about doing that even more, because I think what's interesting is you saw some of those people that maybe they would tell themselves things like, yeah, but I'm not creative. I'm not really good at that. I'm not artistic, so I'm just gonna paint my walls white because I know I'm not good at that. And then them kind of being pushed to like, no, just try it. Go pick something out that's colorful. And then them kind of realizing that they have the permission to do that and realizing that maybe they're better at it than they thought. So sometimes you kind of need that push in the right direction to push yourself into being more creative. You need to get that permission. It's kind of like if you see a little kid and they're like doodling something, and then someone comes up to them and says, oh my God, that's horrible. That looks nothing like whatever you're sketching out. That's such a bad drawing. And they're probably never going to try it again. And then you see a kid sketching or doodling in a notebook and someone comes over and says, wow, that's amazing. You're really good at that. And they're going to give themselves that permission to try to push themselves more. And I feel like one thing about you is maybe you have been keeping yourself in a box, trying to appease the collective, trying to not really take a step wrong, trying to, you know, have a good aesthetic that's classy or looks good to others. And now this is really about you paying attention to your own values, to your own unique instincts, and not being afraid to step out of line with that. We had the Knight of Cups, so I feel like this is kind of about taking like more of a self-centered stance of what you really like, instead of worrying about what others are going to say, what others think is respectable, what others think is cool or fashionable or elegant, and more into what do you actually like? What is your genuine taste? And I always think that's such an exciting time when you're figuring that out. Pluto is one of the water signs. Water signs are highly creative. So Pluto is a sign that definitely gives gifts in the creative fields, arts, any kind of creativity can definitely be indicated with Pluto. And so for you guys, I feel like this is about you trusting, and keep in mind, the water signs are known for being really two characteristics, I guess three, empathetic, but two other major characteristics, which is intuitive and creative, right? And then empathetic, I guess. But it's interesting that these two are the same. Why? Because a lot of the creative instincts come out of our intuition. And it's the same thing. It's learning to trust our intuition and learning to trust that weird instinct that I think you hear from a lot of like interior designers or fashion designers or creative people in general. And they'll say, you know, I don't know why, but I just felt like I should design a room that's orange with purple stripes or something. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. It just came to me. you know, and maybe at the time it sounded crazy to everyone else, but the way they put it together looks beautiful. It's that same instinct of trusting that little voice inside your head, an Ace of Cups moment, trusting the download, trusting that instinct you get of like, I should try this, even if it sounds crazy to everyone else. And I think that's something you guys are really learning, is that your intuition, your own unique voice is very special and singular, and you don't need to have anyone else agree with you, believe it, understand it, because it's coming to you for a reason. So I think that's something that's happening. You're refining your psychic abilities, and you're definitely refining your ability to trust yourself and your ability to listen to your intuition, and maybe not paying as much attention with this Nine of Wands to what others think, or to like the rat race comparison of where is someone else in comparison to me. This is about really stepping towards your own power. Let's get some more cards for pile number 2. What is going to be happening for pile 2 as Pluto enters into Aquarius? What's going to be happening for pile 2 as Pluto enters into Aquarius? Spark, okay. What cards are we going to get? Encouragement, okay. Come together. Wow. Commitment. I'm telling you, so many of these cards are about relationships. These cards are really, really, really about people dating and people coming together, people being in a relationship, possibly getting married, possibly starting a family. I feel like it's almost like for some of you guys, you've had a very solitary, or you've been very self-reliant. You've always depended on yourself, and it was kind of hard for you to open up to everyone else and let someone else in. And I really feel strongly that this primary energy that you're learning as Pluto enters into Aquarius is for you to learn to allow someone else in. And maybe there's almost been a fear of like, yeah, but if I let someone else in, then I'll get my heart broken. And it's like, and so what? You know what I mean? I think that's a really empowering moment, realizing that nothing can fully bring you down. And I think that's something Pluto and Scorpios really understand deeply. They tend to embrace change because Scorpio and Pluto is an energy of transformation. It's an energy of burning it all down and seeing what's left standing. So even if you do get your heart broken, Scorpio doesn't really mind as much, because it's like, hey, that's part of the process. And that's why Scorpio is willing to love so deeply, to the point where it's literally where Venus is debilitated, because it's debilitated in Scorpio because it loves so deep. The opposite of Scorpio in like Aries or Virgo, it's debilitated there because they're like obsessive, so intense about their partner. But the reason Scorpio is willing to go that deep, to a level that a lot of people would be scared to go to, is because they know that even if their heart gets broken, they'll still be okay. At least they learned, at least they got to experience that level of love. And I feel like you're learning about that yourself. You're learning to trust, you're learning to take those risks and to be willing to put yourself out there and put yourself on the line, and that what you gain in the process is totally worth any pain that may come in the end. You know what I mean? So why would you stay away from the most amazing experience in your life, the most amazing possibility for union, because of a fear of a little bit of a heartbreak at the end? At the end of the day, it's all emotion. So even if you get sad and upset, hey, you still have a beautiful love story. And even those sad feelings, like feeling upset after a breakup, there's something poetically beautiful about that too. So why would we be afraid from that? Let's get into some astrology energy and see what astrological energies are going to be most affected by this, and what astrological energies are at play. Ooh, Aquarius, 6th house, Virgo, and Pluto. Oh my gosh. Okay, so maybe this is a collective reading that isn't affecting as many specific astrological placements, but we do have Pluto, aka Scorpio, and we have Aquarius, and we have Virgo. So Virgo somehow snuck in this, but I don't know. We talked about Scorpio. So Scorpio is definitely an energy that craves that depth, craves that excitement, craves those deep feelings. And I think in a way, you're learning more to listen to that instinctual kind of hunger and primal desire that Scorpio has. I think a lot of times people talk themselves out of that, like they have a really overwhelming crush, and they may tell themselves, well, listen, you shouldn't be feeling this deep about this person anyway. You need to calm down and like, you need to just dial it back, okay? You're going to come on too strong. And so they may force themselves to stop feeling so deeply. And a Scorpio generally wouldn't do that. A Scorpio is going to be all gas, no brakes. Aries are like that as well. Mars signs tend to be like that. And I feel like you're learning that you don't need to dial anything back. You don't need to dial yourself back, your feelings back. You need to go full throttle. So if there's something that you're wanting, or if there's something you feel called to do, I feel like you're really learning to trust that divine spark of inspiration, that divine calling and magnetism you feel towards something, and just go for it. Then we have Aquarius, again, the sign of individuality. I think a huge theme for you guys is learning to trust your own divine instincts, your spark of creativity, whether it comes to being attracted to someone or wanting a relationship with someone, wanting to text someone and tell them I love you or whatever it is, or feeling like I should start that business, I should start that writing that book, I should start that painting, I should take that cooking class I want to take. Learning to trust yourself, learning that you contain multitudes, and learning that those little sparks and instincts and feelings of desire towards things can be your guiding path and kind of your compass down this journey through life. So I think you are really learning to stop paying attention as much to what the collective thinks, fitting in, following the rules, and more taking the bull by the horns and doing the things you really want to do and the things that are going to make you feel amazing and your own instincts. And then we have Virgo. So Virgo is a kind of careful energy. Virgo rules over the 6th house. So this may also be about reshaping your relationship to work, how you spend your time, your daily routine, your daily schedule. And Virgo's kind of like a rule following energy. And I do feel like for you guys, this is kind of about you learning to not follow the rules as much. You learning to kind of rewrite the script and do the things you want to do, and paying less attention to what anyone else thinks is right or wrong about it. Virgo's also a healing energy. It is like a collective healer and the surgeon, so it will go out of its way to help people. And I feel like for you, you're learning how connected we all are in the collective, and how all of us and everyone's fate affects everyone else's fate. Everyone's feelings, what someone's going through, is going to affect another person. And so I feel like you are learning to really kind of respect that more, not be as much of an individual, but really learned how to plug in, help others, feel connected to any random stranger on the street. Not saying you have to go out of your way to like give your whole life savings to some random person or anything, or be overly obsessed with like empathy in that way that can be self-destructive. But I do feel like you are learning to open those doors up, not be as much of an island, not be as closed off, and really learning to help others, give service. And yeah, you're going to be a very different person by the end of this Pluto transit. So that is what I have for you, pile 2. I really hope that resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts and stories. So let me know what you think. Also give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon. I just posted a reading all about how you're going to be surprised in 2024, as well as your innate gifts and talents that you were born with. So the things you're good at that you just came out of the womb having. And I also posted a late night thoughts of you, kind of fun, spicy reading. But as soon as you sign up, you'll get access to all my additional readings. So over 75 exclusive readings you'll only get access to on Patreon, as well as early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So you will be the first to see them over on Patreon. They get to watch them first before anyone else. If that sounds good to you, like I said, go to my Patreon. The link is underneath the timestamps, in the comments, in the description. And if you would like to get a private session with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can have me pull tarot for you, channel for you, read your astrology, or a combination. Just have an open channeling, energy check-in, or ask me specific questions. You get to choose how it goes. So if that sounds good to you, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So if you picked this whale song resonating card, this is going to be your reading. Let's get into your other cards. You guys got straddling worlds, wandering between realms, horned cactus, resourcefulness, feast of plenty, choices and their consequences, and dust devil, moving out of stagnation. So I feel like a major change happening for some of you guys is travel. You may be being called to move homes, to live somewhere else, or possibly to travel. So this transit could be lighting up your fourth house of home as well as your ninth house of travel or your third house of travel. But I feel like you may be called to completely change your life. This is a major transformational energy that may be affecting your self identity as well. So I could see this being a first house transit. I feel like you are really changing who you are and possibly completely pivoting to like a new career field, career path, or a new place of living. And I feel like you are leaving your core identity behind, that the person that you were at the beginning of this transit is going to be very different from the person that you are at the end of it in 20 years. Of course, most people go through changes over the course of 20 years, but they may stay in the same town, they may have the same career, they may have roughly this similar kind of life. And I feel like for you, this is a big foundational identity shift. So this is going to be, like I said, changing careers, changing jobs, or changing locations in a major way, and maybe like integrating yourself into a totally different friend group or a totally different identity within that. So one of those moves where you're not just, moving from Kentucky to New York, but living the same kind of lifestyle. You're going to have a totally different lifestyle in New York or Kentucky, or if you move to like Bali versus Wisconsin or whatever, So I think that you are going to be surprised at the person that you are and kind of like finding more resources inside of yourself, realizing that the person that you thought you were is a little bit different than the person that you actually are. And I'm feeling for some of you guys, this is not going to be as difficult of a transit as it is for other people. So it feels like whatever it's affecting for you, there's a little bit more ease in it, and it's not as much of a hard shift or a hard change as it's going to be for other placements. So for some of you guys, this could be like a trine. You could have an Aquarius placement, or you could have some other air signs. So you could have Gemini or Libra placements, inner planets in those. So Sun, Moon, Ascendant, Venus, Mars, Mercury, that these are going to be lighting up because the trine is often going to be a little bit easier. You're not going to feel it as harsh. So if you have an air inner placement, then this could really affect that, but not necessarily in a harsh way. I feel like you're going to be making some changes, but it's going to be easier. It's feeling to me like a breath of exhale. It's feeling like, whew, things are actually getting a little bit better. It's not going to be a complete life redo in like a traumatic way that Pluto can sometimes be. It's going to be a way that I think actually eases you more into your truest identity, truest version of yourself. So if there's been an identity you've wanted to step into, but you've been afraid to do it in the past, this is going to maybe be a little bit easier for you. So it could be something like you've always wanted to be a surfer, but it's never really been an option for you. You've always lived in a major city, and suddenly you get a job opportunity to move to like Jamaica or to move to like the coast of Portugal. And next thing you know, you're waking up every morning to go surfing at 6 a.m. You're integrating into the local surfing community, and you just really love it. And it feels easy, and it feels really nice. And it feels like fulfilling a part of your identity that was always there, but never really had that full permission to grow. So I feel like you guys are giving yourself that permission to become what and who you really want to be. You are no longer trying to fit into certain strictures or certain identities that have been placed on you, and you're being a little bit more selfish. And also I'm hearing you're more aware of time passing. So as Pluto moves into Aquarius, you may be putting more of a careful eye towards, how does this event serve me? Is it really good for me? If you're making a life decision, like if someone asked you to do something with your career, maybe in the past you would just say yes to appease your boss. You would just go along with it to fit into that Capricornian group identity energy, that kind of foundational rules and regulations type of energy. And now you're like, what do I really want to do? So I feel like one exciting change that's happening, especially towards the beginning of Aquarius Aquarius of Aquarius Pluto, but of course it could happen even at any time during this. But you are going to decide to do something that's a little bit selfish or outside of the box that would have been totally like impossible for you to do before. There's something that you're wanting to do or you have been wanting to do that in the past you may have dismissed it and been like, yeah, that's never going to happen. And suddenly it ends up magically working out for you. Let's get into some tarot as well for pile number 3. We want to see how Pluto in Aquarius is going to affect things for pile number 3. I also want to mention that some of you guys are going to be becoming a lot more psychic. We got the straddling worlds and wandering between realms card. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, your psychic visions are going to be so on point. You are going to really deepen your spiritual abilities. Pluto is a highly psychic planet. It's one of the main psychic planets along with the moon and Neptune. So for a lot of you guys, this is going to make you get better downloads. You might find your sleep to be a lot more intense as this transit happens. You may find that you are able to connect with the astral plane, astral project, astral travel a lot easier than you did in the past. And you may also find some kind of spiritual practice like doing yoga regularly or meditating regularly that starts working its way into your life. And these changes overall, all these changes may happen fast for you. We got the 8 of Wands. So again, this could be a decision to move. This could be a decision to really shift something in your life. And there may also be a sense of urgency around you as Pluto moves into Aquarius. So things that you would put off in the past, things that you would be like, oh, well, I'll get to that someday. I almost feel like, again, with that metaphor of the guy who's always loved surfing, but he's always been like, yeah, well, I'll do it on vacation. It's almost like before he makes the move to Portugal or to the coast of Costa Rica or whatever, he may be like, you know what? This is something I gotta do. I love surfing. It's my favorite way to start my day. It means a lot to me. It's a spiritual practice. I'm going to directly seek out a job that allows me to surf in an area where I can surf every day because life is short. I feel like there's more of an awareness for you about the fleeting nature of life. Keep in mind that Pluto does relate to death. The 8th house is a death house. So whenever we have a Pluto transit, it can make us much more aware of our mortality, of death, of all the things that can go wrong. And again, of this connection, spiritually speaking, to the astral plane, to the other side. So you may find yourself much more in touch with ghosts, with spirits, much more capable of doing things like a seance or just connecting as a medium, doing tarot, anything like that. You may feel much more connected to the other side. And I feel like you're also going to be more aware of your health. You're going to be keeping more track of your health. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is not a health reading, and of course you have to see a doctor if you want any advice with that. But I do feel like there's kind of a focus for you on maintaining your physical health or taking every moment as it comes, being grateful for that. And I am hearing a message for some of you guys who got this pile, not everyone, but just to be aware of your surroundings at this time. It's a general reading, so please take what resonates, leave the rest. Don't let any reading make you stress out. But as always, we should always be aware of like what's happening around us and careful, when we're crossing a street, careful when we're walking down the road, careful when we're riding a bike that we make sure we wear the helmet. You know what I mean? Those are all basic health things. And sometimes when Pluto is shifting around, again, it's a planet that does relate to death specifically, although again, it's a huge generational transit that happening to everyone. So I am not saying anyone specifically is going to have anything happen to their health. But whenever, the planets are doing something major, like an eclipse, I always think it's wise to be careful, extra careful with our health, because that's just how they work. You know what I mean? We want to make sure we're always taking those extra efforts to make sure that, yeah, like I said, we double cross the street. We make sure that we, are going in to the doctor to get a checkup, those kinds of basic things. So yeah, I feel like for you guys, there's almost like more of this zest towards life or realizing how special and important life is and that every moment counts. So we got the 3 of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, the 8 of Cups, And let's get one more card for pile number 3, the Devil card. Okay, perfect. So the Devil card is definitely about leaving behind bad habits. It can also have to do with leaving behind bad relationships that are no longer serving us. We can also see that energy with the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is often leaving behind something that maybe to someone else they'd be like, well, that situation is fine, or that situation looks good. I don't see the problem. Like, you should be happy. But it's knowing that there's something better for you, knowing that there's something better, that this situation, even though it may not be horrible, it may not be completely awful for us, that we really need to chase that thing that is going to make us feel the absolute best. So again, going back to this same metaphor, this is not what you have to do specifically, but that guy who maybe he had a great job, he was living in like New York, he was making money, but he loves surfing. He feels his best self when he's living near the beach or when he has sun every day. And so he decides to move to Portugal. You know, this is about deciding that what you have already, even if it's mediocre, if it's good enough, that we're not going to settle for that. We are going to demand a little bit more, and we are going to make sure that whatever we're doing is really in our highest alignment, and that is a possibility. We don't have to settle for a mediocre, it's kind of good enough type of life, type of relationship, type of job. We can really seek out a life that fulfills us on every level. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time to figure out, a little maneuvering. You know, sometimes it's not as simple as just like, oh, I'll just quit my job and move tomorrow, right? For most people. But there is a way to do it. There is a way to make sure we're in alignment with our highest possible best kind of life that we could live. So I feel like for you guys, you're going to be making some choices about leaving certain things, leaving certain identities behind, becoming a different person, and being willing to step into that. I do see a move, physically, like a move for a lot of you guys who picked this pile. And I also feel like some of you guys are going to be changing career paths, moving into a different career, a different field, and really pivoting within that. We also can see the Seven of Pentacles. So you may reach a level with your career where you're just not satisfied, even if you have been making a lot of inroads, even if you have been reaching some success, even if there is a level of acclaim or expertise that you achieve. I feel like for some of you guys, you are going to pivot into something that's much more exciting to you. Keep in mind that Pluto is that energy that doesn't really do things halfway. Either Pluto is all about you, a Scorpio is all about you, or they're not interested. They really don't do the wishy-washy, I kind of like you, I don't really know. They're either all in or they're all out. And I feel like for you guys, things that you have been kind of like, yeah, it kind of works, are no longer going to be able to serve you as this Pluto in Aquarius energy happens. You're going to become much more intensely aware of the things that actually get you really excited, get you going, make you feel joy and excitement and happiness and energy, versus the things that, yeah, it's like, it's okay. I mean, I'm kind of excited. I could take it or leave it, but so there's going to be a very much clearing out of the things in the rest of your life that aren't really serving you anymore, or that you felt lukewarm, wishy-washy about. I also could see some of you guys going back to school, getting more education. We did get the Three of Pentacles, getting more expertise in your field. And I'm hearing that by the end of this transit, for some of you guys, you are going to be a recognized name or expert within your field. So whatever you do for work, you may develop a reputation and be known nationally or internationally or within your field in some way for the work you do. There's going to be a lot more attention paid on you. And I do feel like eyes are going to be on you more, especially at the beginning of this transit and then throughout it. But, you know, whenever these large outer planets move into a new sign, we kind of feel that energy as in the collective a little bit harshly. Like it's kind of like shifting gears in a car, and when someone manually shifts and you can just feel those gears grinding, there's kind of like a little bit of tension as we shift from Capricorn into Aquarius. And of course, this is actually going back and forth. So we have one more retrograde in the fall, but then by 2025, it is going to be there for the next 20 years, full 20 years. So we're going to be in this for a long time, but at the first, we're going to feel this kind of like harsher because there's an adjustment period that happens whenever a large outer planet shifts into a new energy. But I do feel like for you guys, this is about, again, developing a little bit of a name and a reputation, and almost like shifting out of the lukewarm energy that you were in the past actually allows you to get more of this expertise, to get more of a reputation or an identity, because I feel like it gives you, because you love whatever this new field is, because you genuinely are so excited and connected to it, it really allows you to pour that enthusiasm and energy into it, and it pays off when it comes to the kind of work you're able to do. So you may find yourself much more invigorated by this new field of work, much more invigorated by your new lifestyle, and much more excited for it in a way that you just weren't before, and that allows your output to be a lot better. Let me get into some more cards for pile number 3. We want to know what is going to be happening with the Pluto in Aquarius transit for pile number 3. So we got goblins, okay. And let's see what else. Ghost lands. Movements. Yeah, I feel like for some of you guys, an encouragement. For some of you guys, this is really about clearing out possibly some old relationships. It feels like there's some stagnancy that Pluto is going to be clearing out of your life. Keep in mind, Pluto is waste disposal. It's plumbing, trash removal, anything that has to do with waste disposal, Pluto rules over. So literally sewers, everything like that. So Pluto loves to flush out the old stuff that has got to go. It loves to take out the trash. And it doesn't, when I say trash, it doesn't mean the person has to be like toxic or whatever, but if someone is no longer serving your life, if there's a relationship that's kind of stagnant, or maybe it's like an old friendship and it meant a lot to you at the time, but you guys are so different now, you're kind of on totally parallel paths and they don't really understand you and you don't really understand them, that's a relationship that Pluto may just take and remove, especially if that relationship is keeping you in a past stagnant energy. And with Aquarius, it's really a highlight of individualism. Aquarius loves to march to the beat of their own drum. It's not as much of a collective or worried about the collective energy as Capricorn is. So for a lot of you guys, you may find that if there were relationships where you were expected to behave in a certain way, if there were relationships where you were called upon to, follow certain rules in order to make other people happy, to step into a certain identity in order to kind of keep the peace, in order to have everyone get along, you had to act a certain way according to some kind of rigid structure, you may find that with Pluto in Aquarius, you're no longer willing to do that. And actually, you are going to be much more of an individualist. You are going to be much more intent on like, this is my opinion, this is what I think. And friendships that don't allow you to have that space and that individuality have got to go. And you're not tolerating them anymore. You're not twisting yourself into a pretzel to make these people like you anymore. So for a lot of you guys, we may see an end in certain relationships, but I'm not feeling like it would be a traumatic ending or a negative feeling. It feels like a lot of these relationships would just naturally leave your life and kind of go on their own way, and you would be released from them and able to seek out things that actually make you feel a lot more genuinely yourself. Be it a job, be it a relationship, I feel like you are being called to step much more into authenticity and do things outside the box that maybe in the past you really felt like, I don't know if I can do this, or people are going to think I'm weird if I do that, or people are going to think I'm crazy. And now you're going to be like, so what if they do? I don't really care. So there's much more of a powerful emphasis on your own instincts, your own desires, rather than fitting into some kind of collective idea of what you should do. Let's get into some astrology dice and see what major astrological energies are at play and what zodiac placements are going to be affected by this the most. So we have Taurus, then we have Neptune, and then we have the 8th house. So we have Taurus, Pisces, and Scorpio. So 2 water signs and then Taurus. Taurus is the second house of earned income, and we also have the 8th house of other people's income, other people's money. So interesting, you have that financial access highlighted here. So this could definitely transform your money. Whenever you have that second 8th house axis lit up, then it could be that you're going to learn to balance your income with someone else's. This could be being in a relationship where someone financially provides for you, or or you financially provide for someone else. This also could be learning to stand on your own 2 feet and really learn how to make your own money. Ultimately, the second to 8th house axis is an axis about what we value, our worth, and also sharing and negotiating within relationships. So I feel like for you guys, this is kind of, again, a move more towards individualism is what I'm getting, and kind of like learning to advocate for yourself. So even if you are sharing money with someone, even if you are in a relationship where someone else provides for you, it's kind of learning to stand on your own 2 feet and acknowledge or advocate for yourself. Say what you want. Say that, like, if someone tries to put you on a budget and they're like, well, I earn the money, so I get to say what happens. This may be about you being like, well, actually, I do this, and I'm telling you now, I need to go buy this, and that's what I'm going to do. So there's some kind of negotiation happening possibly in your financial section. And it could just be about whatever it is that you're doing, even at your workplace, advocating for a higher pay, advocating that I do want to make that move to Costa Rica or whatever, so I can surf, and so I need you to transfer me to that office, you know. But there's some kind of thing about you identifying what you like, what you want, what you value, and really going after it, really advocating for that. And Taurus understands that energy more than anyone else. We also have Pisces. We have 2 of the water signs, 2 of the most psychic signs in the zodiac, along with Cancer. So again, I feel like your psychic abilities are going to be extremely heightened at this time. Some of you guys may be having major Pluto aspects to some of the psychic planets, so the moon, Neptune, or Pluto. You could have trines, sextiles, conjunction. I doubt it's going to be a Pluto conjunction because you're not 240 years old. So unless you're a ghost watching this, it's probably not going to be a conjunction, but you could have other aspects to your native natal Neptune, or your natal moon in particular. So for some of you guys, or you could also have 4th house, 8th house, or 12th house Pluto in those houses. But I feel like for you guys, this is definitely about getting in touch with your intuition, listening to yourself, again, possibly developing a meditation routine, possibly developing a tarot practice, or just learning to trust yourself. You may feel very connected to the other side. You may feel capable of running a seance, or of getting, you know, divine downloads from spirit, or feeling little instincts and nudges from spirit and feeling very connected to that. You may develop different spiritual practices at this time. You may feel very called to develop your psychic instincts and to really push yourself to develop those gifts. Again, especially if you're having this Pluto transit happening through your 4th, 8th, 12th house. That's what spirit is showing me again. Or this Pluto highlighting, lighting up, aspecting your moon, Pluto, Neptune. This could really, really, really affect that part of yourself. And you may find yourself called to go seek out tarot readers, go seek out psychics, get some Reiki healing, get any kind of occult work done, delve more into the occult, even hit up like a Botanica, or learning to use your gifts in that way, learning to commune more with the other side, I feel like is going to be a major thing happening for you. And by the end of this transit, you may find that you are much more in touch and in control of your gifts than you were when it started. So I think that is what I have for you, pile number 3. I really hope it resonates. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, hearing your thoughts and stories and your reflections. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up and hit the like button. Also, subscribe. And if you want to see more of my content, head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted a reading all about what you're going to be surprised by in 2024. And before that, I posted one about your innate gifts and talents that you were born with, as well as a what are their late night thoughts about you, spicier reading. but there is so much content to choose from on Patreon. There's over 75 exclusive readings you'll only get access to over there. You also get early and ad-free access to my YouTube videos, so they get posted over there first. You guys get to be the first to see them on Patreon, and you also get to vote and suggest new readings, so it's very interactive. If all that sounds good to you, head to my Patreon. Link is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. And if you would like to get a private session with me, you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can have me read your tarot, channel for you, read your astrology, do a little combination of all three, and you get to have me focus on one specific question, just do open channeling and energy check-in, however you want the reading to go. It's totally cool. So if that sounds good to you, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back again very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.